Hello everybody, welcome to section 3.4. We're continuing our discussions today over our linear functions, equations of lines. Specifically, we're going to concentrate on slope. Now, what is slope? Many people understand the idea of what slope is supposed to represent. It sounds like steepness. You think about the slope of the side of a mountain, but what is slope mathematically is what we're really after right here. And there is a formula for slope. If we have a line in the plane, and that line passes through 2 points, we sometimes think of the slope. I'm going to write up my formula right here if I can get my marker working here. Okay, we get slope, which we represent using the number m, as the change in y values. So change in y values between the 2 points divided by the change in x values. So the change in x. Okay. How do we get those changes? Well, a change is actually just a measure of difference. That is a subtraction. So we're going to take, if we've got 2 points, we'll call them x1, y1, as we have in the past. And we'll call the other point number 2. So that's x2, y2. And so our change in y would be the difference, y2 minus y1, divided by x2 minus x1. So the change in y, y2 minus y1 over the change in x, x2 minus xy. Sometimes you also see this phrase used, rise over run. Rise is associated with vertical movement, up and down. Run is associated with horizontal movement, side to side. So we take the amount of rise over the amount of run, and we call that value our slope. So this is the formula for slope, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's try it out right here. We've got this line passing through the points 1, 5, and 3, 5. Let's find the slope of that. Well, all right. We'll call this point 1. So here's x1 equals 1. y1 is equal to 5. Since this is point 2, this will be the point x2. This will be the point y2. So our subtraction here is going to go like this. The y value is 5 minus 5 divided by 3 minus 1. Well, in this case, 5 minus 5 gives us 0 in the numerator. 3 minus 1 gives us 2. And so our slope, at least in this particular example, is 0, because 0 divided by any number is just 0. Right. What does that indicate about the line? Well, that's actually a line kind of like this one down here. Because we could have a point where we pass through the point 1, 5 and 3, 5 right over here, and there's no change in the rise, right? So we might interpret this to mean no rise, all run, right? If we think about that, that's the meaning behind a horizontal slope, or the slope of a horizontal line. And looking at these pictures right here, we might get an idea, right? So already we've established that C is an image of where we have a slope equal to 0. What about A and B? Well, we might just simply ask the question, let's say we don't have any particular information. What could we say about the slope in line A? Take a moment, think about that. What could we say about that? If you said it's positive, that's true, right? It's positive because if we take a slope of a line that is increasing as we go left to right, so it looks like it's going up, it looks like if we were to choose any 2 points anywhere along this line, our rise is up in the positive direction and our run we always take to be positive right here. So we say it's positive over positive, so this must be a positive slope. Consequently, if we don't go up as we go left to right, in other words, if we go down, every time we go down, right, so instead of rising, we're falling. And how do we express falling? Well, we're going to call that negative in the sense that we mean it every time we have a run to the right. So it's a negative over a positive. So B, we might say the slope is going to be negative, regardless of what the actual values we get on the line are. Now we've seen an example of a zero slope, right? If the value of the slope is 0, that should be a z, 0, then we know that the line is going side to side. How about up and down? What would we say about that? Well, in this case, when the line is vertical, as it is in D, we could say about the line that M is undefined. You're asking, undefined, what does that mean? Undefined means that we have all rise, no run. And if you think about what that means that whatever values we have in our x and y points, point 1, point 2, along our line, we know that our slope is going to be some number divided by 0. If anytime we divide some number by 0, right, whatever our change in y, I'm going to use the physics symbol for change in y, delta y is, doesn't matter because that 0 in the denominator makes the fraction undefined. We cannot divide by 0. Next presentation in a moment.